Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Pixels Politics. I'm your host, Dougie. It's episode 21 of season 3. And we have a special episode today. It's a follow-up episode on a person we previously talked about. To me, they're nobody. I've never heard of them before the episode, and the only reason we found them was because of one of the emails we exposed. However, this morning I woke up to a email sent to our business account, and it was from his band manager, and it was about the episode, and it was sort of a just a response, a little explaining as to what happened. I'm not gonna say it was litigation, centered, but there was some interesting language in the email. We'll read the email. And so after reading the email, I was like, well, maybe I was a little too harsh. It was an older video. It was a little too harsh. Maybe I jumped the gun on what we said in the episode. However, most of the time, we're just reading the emails out loud. We're just reading their own words, these people's own words out loud. But whatever. I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we were too harsh. So I went and I rewatched the video. And I thought, well, I was curious. I'm going to show it here shortly. I was curious. We didn't really... I'll just play it now. I'll play it now. Jump right into it. I'll play it now. This is the video. It is Ramsey Elkholy of the Monotronic band. Previous, he was a photographer, an agent of sorts. He would provide these young women, contact, mostly foreign women, contact with agencies. Okay? Now, he also spent a lot of time using Jeffrey as a contact to get to these agencies, or Jeffrey owned his own business. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. Again, we'll go through the emails. But at minimum, he was a photographer, and he spent a lot of time with Jeffrey. So we're going to watch the video that we had originally posted. Then I'll read the email, and then I will show you what else I found on Ramsey Elkholy, and whether or not the lies in the email or in our video. We'll see where the lies are. Allegedly, this is Ramsey Elkholy, American anthropologist, musician, and producer, best known as the founder of the New York-based genre-defying music collection, Monotronic. Happy New Year. Yes, I'm here. Just got my visa. Oh, yeah, I saw this recently. I'll go to the 2B Riga agency tomorrow if you want. I'll walk around. There are little girls. They have good bodies, but the face is weird, and they are not so tall. Are you home? Yeah, so I have that, of course. I have that email, and we're gonna go look at it. The email right here. Again, Happy New Year. Yes, I'm here. I just got my visa. I'll go to the 2B Riga agency tomorrow if you want. I walk around. There are little girls. They have good bodies, but the face is weird. They are not so tall. Are you home? Now, like I think there's a little bit of a language barrier. Obviously, can and kind of see that. However, I don't really know. I personally, I don't have to say my thoughts. I never really do. All I have to do is just read the email, because this is his own words. This is what he said to Jeffrey. This is in 2010. Jeffrey was convicted once already, or twice before then, but once in 2008. And this was not unknown. Okay? Was not unknown. But again, I'll go to the 2B Riga agency tomorrow if you want. I walk around. There are little girls. They have good bodies, but the face is weird, and they are not so tall. Dissecting that grammatically, I can only assume at face value it is what it is. I have to be kind of careful with this video, just in case they decide to really, come at me with some form of litigation. But again, audience, you are, of course, free to take from this email what it is you want from it. Okay, I don't have to interpret it for you. You're all free thinkers. I don't have to say anything other than to show you and read it out loud. All right, continue the video. Unfortunately, Eastern Europe is a fucking hotbed for trafficking. Is where a lot of these girls come from. I just want to point out, and I didn't say he was a trafficker. I just said Eastern Europe is a hotbed for trafficking. It's a well-known fact, to be honest with you. It's a well-known fact. I didn't say he was a trafficker. Didn't say that. Didn't say that at all. Just we're talking about a video with Epstein emails, and this one just so happens to come from a place in Eastern Europe. I'm not correlating the two, but I do find it interesting in the email that they did. But I digress. We'll get to the email. Real live amazing girls, many blondes with great bodies. Blank emailed me saying you killed her with your words, calling her silly. She is alone this last week in New York and has lost money on this trip. She is desperate for cash. I have this email too, because of course I do. I bring receipts. And this is the one. So they directly address this particular email in the email that they sent me. So I thought that was extremely interesting, mostly because of this. So he says, I'm in Latvia, amazing girls, many blondes with great bodies. Emailed me saying you killed her with your words, calling her silly. She's alone last week in New York, has lost money, desperate for cash. I've been working on her. She agreed with me that posing in lingerie is part of her job. She told me she would have no problem to do that with you, but she doesn't have the courage to propose it herself. No, it doesn't seem like much, but it's a step. It's kind of interesting because what if posing in lingerie is a step? What's the next step past that? I didn't even catch that the first time around. But now that I'm being forced to investigate and to make sure, it's an interesting thing to say there. She plans on coming back to New York, so I'm thinking she could be an ongoing project. Also, I get it. You're a photographer. For me, here's my favorite part about all this, because the email, we'll see. For me, it's a great experiment. Taking a girl who hadn't been with a guy until she was 23 and then getting her to this point. I think you're in a good position because she is a drama queen. And in the past, she has said similar things. Jeffrey killed me with his words. And then you would call her the next day and she'd be happy. She is sufficiently confused, and I think you could get some mileage out of this. Okay. Previously, I just said that I thought there might be a language barrier, and that's why he was talking the way he was in the previous email. I kind of have to take that back, unless his English got really good here just a few months later, because this is only, not that much long after that first one. Otherwise, hope all is fine with you. We'll keep you updated on my travels. Tallinn, Estonia is next. So I'm going to leave this open because I'm going to come back to this. Here's the end of the video. I've been working on her. She agreed with me that posing in lingerie is part of her job. She told me she would have no problem to do that with you, but she doesn't have the courage to propose it herself. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it's a step. She plans on coming back to New York, so I'm thinking she could be an ongoing project. Bro, what are they talking about like this? For me, it's a great experiment. Taking a girl who hadn't been with a guy until she was 23 and then getting her to this point. Allegedly. Honestly, of all the things we posted, that video is practically nothing. We've posted people with way more direct, obvious intentions between the two of them. All right? And maybe you're new to this episode, maybe you're new to the channel, but on Instagram, what I've done, and I've taken throughout all of our episodes these kind of snippets for each of the people that we've exposed, put them all into one clip, posted on Instagram. This is something we've done with Elkholy. And that's where this comes from. Most of you probably know that. But if you're new, that's where this comes from. And to be honest with you, for me, it feels good because it's like efficient. Like exposing them in line one at a time. It's fun to put them together. It's kind of hard sometimes just because, we talk about multiple throughout different episodes. But Elkholy, to be honest with you, I had never heard of him before. He's a nobody as far as I can tell. And it's just so funny that of all the people he decided to, or his band manager or whatever, decided to send an email this morning to us, to the channel. And this is what he said. First, I want to point out that it says doxing at the top, which in that video, we in no way doxed him. Okay? I don't know why you think we're doxing you, but just by saying your name associated with the email that you sent, okay, and saying, the band you're a part, we said the band, it's all publicly available information with just your name being searched. That's not doxing. Okay, doxing is showing your address, maybe, showing your family's addresses. That's doxing, okay? This is not doxing. This is all public information. Okay, so to me, that's an accusation that you're accusing of us, and we're not doxing you, okay? So this is from the Monotronic band email. This is the band that he founded it. He founded the band, as far as I can tell. And I'm going to read it. There's some signs in here. This email is not very grammatically, it hasn't been checked more than once. I'll just say that much, as far as I can tell. And I kind of get the assumption that he may or may not have been the one writing it. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I'm, I'm assuming. Okay, I'm openly admitting that I'm assuming that that's what's going on. That, or the person who wrote this, English is also not their first language. But this is the email I received this morning. Hi there. Reaching out on behalf of Monotronic Management, which again is the band that he's part of. The Epstein files were certainly a bombshell, and as you can probably assuming it's imagine, who had a lot of explaining to do. I assume also they're talking about Elkholy there. I do find it interesting they don't explicitly say his name. I think that's intentional. I guess I'll just start by saying that a lot of people are getting hurt by this. Yeah, and most of the people getting hurt by this deserve it. Just putting that out there. Like people that have nothing at all to do with this. I manage the band, for example, and I've been putting in at least another 2-3 hours per day trying to connect with people to let them know that we're all equally disturbed. Yeah, so like people who have nothing at all to do with this. Okay, I mean, we'll kind of get into that, but I feel like most of the focus has been on the people explicitly in the files. I personally don't know of anyone who has lost their job on accident because of this. There has been like one incident where this poor guy did get accused because of a lot of misinformation, but he posted a video and cleared it up pretty quickly, and other people were quick to point that out, and the information got spread pretty quick. So in general, the people who are innocent are very quickly proven to be innocent, and they are no longer hurt by such things. As a matter of fact, some of the people who've been accused, wrongfully accused, and their names have been cleared, you kind of see the opposite effect, like, oh shit, like our bad. Most of the people who have been eating shit over this, rightfully so, and to be honest with you, I think they deserve a little more. So he says, I manage the band, for example, and I've been putting in at least 2-3 hours per day trying to connect with people to let them know that we're all equally disturbed by this. The other thing worth mentioning is that this was all like 10-15 years ago. 10-15 years ago. So that's untrue. That's untrue. Okay, definitely started over 10 years ago. We have emails all the way back from 2010. Current date is 2026, beginning of the year. So that's 16 years. But we also have emails, I believe, as recent as 2018, which is like 7 years. So, it's a long time, but it's not, not that long ago that you've kept up with him, or that Elkholy has. Well before #MeToo, in an industry where unfortunately they do sometimes talk like that. Now, I can only assume what emails specifically they're talking about. We read out only 2. However, there are many more emails in which he talks like that. On top of that, personally, I don't need people to tell me that I shouldn't talk the way he was talking or act the way he was acting. I don't need a movement to tell me that, okay? The hashtag #MeToo movement wasn't to change behavior, it was to expose all the behavior that was taking place, okay? It was to get those people in trouble and in jail. And if you're saying that your client acted like that, well, I would hate to, say anything more on that, but thankfully, they don't anymore. That's true. The hashtag #MeToo movement has totally cleaned up the industries. There's no more of that stuff in Hollywood. There's no more of that behavior or that type of talk in the music industry, in photography, in videography. No, it's completely cured. God bless. There's no more of that. Thankfully, they don't anymore. Yes. But it was a different time, is the point. I really hate this. This is the boys will be boys excuse, which I think is incredibly unbelievable to use here. I, again, just personally have never talked the way he talked in those emails. Who the hell lands in a country and says, what? Let me reread what he wrote. I'm in Latvia. Many blondes with great bodies. Maybe that's not that one's not that bad. But this one, I can't say that I've ever. Okay, yes, I'm verified. I've never said, I walk around. There are little girls. They have good bodies, but the face is weird, and they are not so tall. I can't say personally I've ever said that. And then the hashtag #MeToo movement happened. Then I was like, oh, that was probably wrong. I shouldn't do that. And saying that you're in an industry that might promote that behavior is not an excuse to talk like that. And even saying you were younger or that it's a long time ago is also not an excuse to talk like that. Unless you yourself are a little boy. Maybe then it's appropriate. Okay? But I'm struggling to understand the context or the justifications you've given me so that saying I walk around, there are little girls, they have good bodies is acceptable. I'm struggling to understand it. Absolutely struggling. But we'll continue. Let's see. Thankfully, they don't anymore. Yeah, okay. But it was a different time, is the point. Finally, and most importantly, none of that talk is about sex aid from the 23-year-old part. Oh, okay. So that's that one email with the 23-year-old. That's not about sex. Okay. Well, let's just go check it again. Because I find it, again, extremely interesting that you said, for me, it's a great experiment. Taking a girl who hadn't been with a guy until she was 23 and then getting her to this point. Now, maybe you're saying she's an innocent woman and that the lingerie photography is so scandalous. I could kind of see it like that. But I'm not so sure that following up with she is sufficiently confused. And I think you can get some mileage out of this. Even if that's just a professional, talk about the professional lingerie photography business, I still find that completely abhorrent and apprehensive. I can't say I condone that even at face value. Okay? Even if it has nothing to do with sex. However, don't worry. We have emails that explicitly kind of show that he was referring to some of these models in sexual manners, and that some of the models seem to have sexual relations with Jeffrey. Let's see. They are talking about a model who won't do a lingerie shoot, Victoria's Secret, which is potentially huge amounts of money. So that's where the frustration comes from. Okay, well, I'm not gonna sit here and go on about what I think about lingerie shoots in general, but them talking about coercing a young woman into a lingerie shoot because she's poor, I would say, again, is still equally wrong. She is desperate for cash. hasn't willing to now do lingerie shoots. I mean, even that in itself is, you know, disgusting. Okay. But everyone, hey, listen, adults, you make the choice, that's fine. You'll notice they're talking about money. Oh, I see her. Sorry. I just think it's important to know the difference between sex trafficking, which is against the law and nasty, and a potty-mouthed agent trying to get a model to get over her fears and hopefully make some money. Yeah, it's not fears that are just holding her back. And the only reason she seems to be willing to do it is because she's poor from another country. And again, I get it. People need to do this to make money. Some of them opt into it very intentionally, more enthusiastically. It's fine. That's not really the problem here. And it seems like in this particular email, you are kind of playing the semantics game of what sex trafficking is. Which, to be honest with you, there's so much in these files. Even if we didn't say, we're not saying, of course, we would never say that he was, because I couldn't find any particular proof about sex trafficking. But even if you remove that so far, I will say that the things he's said and what I've seen are equally horrible. Okay? And, again, we're going to expose it. You'll notice they're talking about money. And hopefully, if you read some of the other messages, you saw the difference between the way Epstein talks to his friends, like really nasty and sexual, involving very young girls, and the way Ramsey is talking to Epstein, which also has that locker room gross vibe that, according to him, embarrasses the shit out of him when he reads that today. Yeah, I mean, most men kind of understand what locker room talk is. Personally, I feel like I'm on the softer end of locker room talk. However, again, locker room talk is never. I walk around. There are little girls. They have good bodies, but the face is weird. They are not so tall. Okay, that's not locker room talk. I'm almost scared to say what I think that is because I'd hate to face some form of litigation. Okay, but yeah, that type of speak where I'm from usually implies that you are into younger people. Okay, just that's what that says to me. Let's see. Gross 5 embarrasses the shit out of him. Should be doing more than embarrass him. But what I wanted to point out is that during no time in those messages, Epstein replied in a sexual way as he does with his friends. The fact is they didn't have that kind of relationship. There was a 20-year difference between them, and it looks like he's trying to impress him with the sex talk, albeit in a really stupid way, which he acknowledges now. Yeah, and now I'm going to be entirely honest here. The problem isn't the talk. Okay, the problem that we're going to expose is that this man, Elkholy, was connecting young women with Jeffrey Epstein, a known pedophile. That's the problem. It really doesn't have all that much to do with the way he talks. Okay? Not just that. The way he talks is pretty inappropriate. And what's curious to me is that you said that they don't have that type of relationship. But, Elkholy himself, and we'll see a little later on, Elkholy himself says a lot about sex with Jeffrey. In a lot of these emails, they talk about sex quite a few times. They talk about coercing women. Talks about kind of, it's very hinted at sleeping with them, okay? Hooking them up with Jeffrey, not just them in a professional manner, okay? Again, we'll go through the emails. They're in there. I have a whole list here. But to say that they didn't have that kind of relationship is, they did. They clearly did have some form of a relationship in which there was talk about sex with some of the models. And it's not hidden that Jeffrey had sex with these models. It was one of the many ways he ended up having contact with the young women, with the, forcing the young children. Like, this is a very known thing. And even outside that, just in general, listen, everybody knows about the fashion business. Nobody's fucking that dumb. Okay, we all know what goes on in the fashion business. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. This is not a hidden thing. So playing the innocent card here is hilarious to me. Because even if Epstein didn't exist, I would just assume you are already a nasty person because you're a photographer, to be honest with you. Okay, just from my experience and what I've seen. But, you know, the reading through your emails just kind of reinforces it, to be honest with you. Anyway, I just want to explain that to the best of my abilities, based on the explanations we have all gotten from him, and also wanted to let you know that we all have been hurt by this. Yeah, do you know, you keep saying you've been hurt by this. The band has been hurt by this. Do you know who is really probably hurt by this? I imagine a lot of the young women who passed through Jeffrey Epstein by your client or from your client. I bet some of those women were hurt, okay? Because they were forced to do something that they might not have wanted to do. Because they were coerced to do something they might not have wanted to do, okay? And even if your client didn't know, even if Mr. Elkholy didn't know what was going on, indirectly, he still connected these women to Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? Indirectly. At minimum. Indirectly. At minimum. But again, Jeffrey was a convicted fucking pedo since 2008. He was a convicted pedo back in 1996 or something. And then again later on. For him, it was a very ongoing process. So I am failing to understand the lapse in judgment here, just in general. Maybe he's a good man now, but on the explanations we have all gotten from him. So now here's where things get kind of good. Canceled gigs, dropped by our management and label. Yeah, well, I don't know. Don't fire the guy, but you won't because he owns the band. I know. My kids are getting bullied in school. My youngest daughter is now being homeschooled because she's afraid to go to school. So, I mean, that sucks. And I honestly, I always feel bad for the innocent. I feel bad for your children. You know whose children I feel worse for? The children that were hurt by Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? Those children probably had it a little worse than your children. Just saying. And it all seems so pointless because so much of what was written in that article was simply not true. Now, I have what I assume is the article they're referencing. There are many articles now written about this situation. And I've gone through that article. To be honest with you, I didn't find many lies. We're going to go through the article too. I didn't find that many lies. They weren't that close. Well, you'll see from the emails. They were close enough. They were close enough that, well, let me finish here. He has never been to any of his homes in Florida, where a lot of that stuff was going on, or New Mexico, or Paris. Now, you know, it's pretty funny that he said those three specific places, because I have emails that definitely show that Mr. Elkholy went to some of his homes, to some of Epstein's homes. So you're cherry picking your information here, okay? So go fuck yourself, because you're lying now. You're lying through omission. Oh, he didn't go to the island. As you know, do you not think I get this a lot? I see this type of lie a lot when it comes to this. They weren't that close. Well, I've got an email that says he went and visited Jeffrey's home by himself. I got him messaging Jeffrey Epstein, talking about bringing some girls, wink, wink, how much fun they had in the past. He sure does talk real friendly with Jeffrey. At one point in the emails, Elkholy's sister is dying of cancer, bless her, and he asked Jeffrey for help. At another point, he asked Jeffrey for a huge favor. He talks to Jeffrey a lot in those files. That's actually some of the higher numbers I've seen as somebody who's looked through a lot of the files. It's a lot of coordinating. It's over 2,000 files. And yeah, some of them are duplicates. He says that here. Still a lot of emails. Okay, I've seen worse. I could only get through about 400 today. Okay, but it was enough. It's enough to prove that you're lying here. They weren't that close. He has never been to any of his homes in Florida or New Mexico or Paris, but he's been to some of his homes. Never been on any flight logs or on his islands. It's not the only place the trafficking took place. Okay, he never even had his phone number. Now, I'm not entirely sure that's true. To be honest, I do have an email where he gives Mr. Elkholy a house number, but a phone number, I don't know. They emailed a lot, emailed a ton. They not only emailed a ton, but they talked on Facebook. I know damn well there's other emails that exist. I know damn well that there are redacted emails. So why 2,000 emails? It's over 2,000, by the way. Many were part of the same thread repeated, and also if you imagine having a convo with your doorman. Let's just talk about that for a second. Many were part of the same thread repeated. It's true, there's a lot of duplicates, but the way it works is if there's one message, and then that counts as one email, it's another message, a reply to that message, then it creates a copy. Okay, then there's two, so on and so forth. Then there's usually, say, two or three copies of that email. But again, this is on the higher end that I've seen. To be honest with you, it is on the higher end. Many were part of the same thread, and also if you imagine having a convo with your doorman for 10 years, sometimes you just say hello, other times you stop and talk. Well, I assure you, he had a relationship with his, quote, doorman, unlike one I've never seen before in my life. Okay? I've never had a doorman. I've never been so lucky to be that rich. But he invites his doorman to hang out quite a bit. He asks his doorman for favors quite a bit. He coordinates with his doorman when they're in the same cities to hang out. Okay, he asks his doorman for favors. And mostly he introduces a lot of young women to his doorman. He also sends a lot of photos to his doorman. Over the course of those 10 years living in the building, if every interaction represents an email, you're going to have around 2,000 emails. Yes, well, quite simply, the fact that he kept talking to him for so long and never found out that he was a pedophile is probably one of the more interesting things to me. But, whatever. Try reading some of the other emails where they talk about fashion and trying to book jobs, or the conversation about stocks, booking publishings, and you'll see that their relationship is not based on sex trafficking. No, it is based on Elkholy introducing Jeffrey Epstein to young women, some of which who are quite desperate for cash. And in return, I didn't see any direct transfers of money, but I certainly did see him ask for favors. I don't know what the legal definition for sex trafficking is. Let's see. Would hate to get myself in trouble. Sex trafficking law definition. The definition is a form of modern-day slavery and human trafficking involving the recruitment, harboring, transportation, provision, and obtaining of a person for a commercial sex act through the use of force, fraud, or coercion. I see. Well, yeah, I can't say that there's that explicitly in the files. Can't say that. But, like I said, he introduces a lot of young women to Jeffrey. Let's see. Try reading. Yes, I read them all. I read 400 of the 4,000 or so emails. Did you talk about fashion? Talk a lot about clients. Talk about some of them in interesting ways. Talk about relationships. Talk about the clients' relationships. They even talk about going into business together. Talk about stocks. It's a lot of, yes, quite a few times about some stock suggestions. The person who wrote that article cherry-picked the messages. It was very much a hit piece. Well, congratulations. I am now also doing a hit piece. I'm sure you'll say that these messages are also cherry picked. But I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't really have to cherry pick the messages. It's like even the first few were just outright disgusting. I mean, it didn't take us long to find those. But again, it really shouldn't matter. Out of context kind of implies that I take a sentence from an overall email or section from a longer video in which someone is saying something else. I don't really feel like that's what happened here. And again, we'll go over the article. I really don't feel like that's what happened. It is a hit piece, but I think your client kind of deserves it. I hope in time people will see that. Well, they'll see something here, that's for sure. Sorry for the super long message. Just want to tell you it's been a really hard time for all of us. So why kick people while they're down? Listen, I have nothing against the other band. To be honest, I don't know the other band members. I didn't really even know what the band was or whatever. It's just really Elkholy that all we pointed out. And all we did was read his emails. Whether or not people get pissed off because of an email that he sent 10 years ago is not on us. Okay? He wasn't our target at all. He wasn't our target. Honest to God. We're just reading out emails, names, person associated. That's very appropriate, in my opinion. It's extremely appropriate. And then the audience and the people can decide. Maybe instead of saying, oh, people will come to you, understand that it was just a silly little mistake, that it was totally appropriate for the time. Maybe you should take some responsibility. How about that? How about that? Even if you didn't know that your client, or maybe your client didn't know that Jeffrey was who he was, which I'm still struggling to really kind of buy, to be honest with you, because you talk like someone who knows, or he talked like someone who knows. Even the way he talked, in my opinion, is pretty over the line. And I think even today, or yesterday, 10 years, whatever, if you expose somebody who talks like that, they should lose their job. They should not be in charge of young women if that's the way they're going to talk. Okay? He drools over his clients in a very inappropriate way. In a way that most people imagine these dirty photographers do. Again, not even talking about the Epstein stuff, the correlation. Just talking about what he says and how he acts. In it by itself is enough for me to not like this guy. Okay? By itself is just enough. Even if I didn't know any of this other stuff. Kick him while he's down? No offense, but he kind of deserves to lose his job in a service industry. People have that choice to not listen to your client's music, okay? Go to his performance because of something he said, because of something they didn't like. That's our choice, okay? It's your job. You're in the service industry to serve appropriately. You didn't do that. So kicking you while you're down, I don't know who's doing that. I don't know what you're on about. All we did was read out messages that your client has said to a pervert, okay? That has little to do with me. I'm not going to be like, oh, this guy, he's exposed the Epstein files. I'll just leave him alone. Someone else will take care of it. No. And again, all we really did was read what your client said out loud. If people didn't like that, then that's on your client. It's not on us, okay? We have nothing to do with it. Again, all we're reading is the email and the person's name and saying who they are. It really has nothing to do with us. Would be great if we could put this to rest. Okay, yeah, that's the kind of overall message that all of these people are saying is, why are we still talking about the Epstein stuff? Let's just forget about it. Just move on. You're in line with that. At least to give yourself enough time to read all the messages. Well, I read about 400 of them. And to be honest with you, that was more than enough. But if you'd like, follow up. Send me another email. If you want me to read the other 2,500 emails, I will do that for you, and I will make another video showing all the emails online to help clear his name of, whatever wrongdoing you didn't think he did. We'll leave it to the audience to decide. And then there would be some context for these kinds of conversations. Of course, I'm going to make sure I provide lots of context to all of these conversations. It's going to be great. I'm going to make sure people understand fully what was going on between your client and Epstein entirely. Or not, just a suggestion. No, don't worry, I'm going to do it. Trust me, I wouldn't have taken another look at your client. I forgot about him. I wouldn't have remembered his fucking name tomorrow if you didn't send me an email today. So thank you for sending me this email so that I could spend the time to go through more of his emails with Jeffrey Epstein. God bless you for sending me this email. Thank you for that. Because the results were extremely interesting. We'll start with what you said. You said he didn't go to his house in Florida in what did you say? France? Somewhere else. Don't really care if he did or didn't go to those places, but weirdly enough, I have him saying, "Hello, Ramsey." This is his assistant. And you can see here that they've tried to redact his name. We've seen this quite a few times where they redact the name in the email subject from or to, but then they don't redact the name here. "Hello, Ramsey. Jeffrey will be in New York all week. He is wondering if you'd please be around. Let me know." All right, I will get back to you on a day and time. Hopefully, we can make something work. This is after you say, "Hi, yes, I'm in town." "Ramsey, could you come see Jeffrey at 4 p.m. on Monday, September 8th, at his home?" Huh. That's very interesting. At his home. Now, let me just double check here in the email. You say, yes, right here. "They weren't that close. He has never been to any of his homes in Florida, New Mexico, or Paris." And then let me just double check because I want to make sure I get it. I want people to have the context, of course. It's important. So he didn't go to the home in Florida, New Mexico, or Paris, but he seems to go to somebody's home here. "Ramsey, could you come see Jeffrey at 4 p.m. on Monday, September 8th, at his home? Just checking in with you. Can you be at Jeffrey's home today at 4 p.m.? Sure. Be there at 4:30. Okay, thanks." This is 2014. This is not the only time Mr. Holy makes it to one of Jeffrey's homes for a meeting. Not the only time. "Ramsey." Let's see. This one you didn't meet at his home, of course. But let's see. "Hi, Ramsey. Jeffrey says you were checking to see if your friend could come by today at 4:30. Might know if this person is able to, ? And if so, could you pass along the name? Thanks. I'll come with her. We'll try to bring one other model as well. Russian painter. Should be okay. Hi, Ramsey. Could you make it 4:45 instead?" Sure. Please confirm back to me. Please meet Jeffrey at Frederick Fakai's salon. Not the house. Not the house. Can now go with the girls. Jeffrey is there. Oh. Again, as long as you didn't meet him at those other 3 homes. You just met him at some other home of his. And a nail salon and quite a few other places. I don't want to bore the people to death, so I'll kind of skip through. But please, Ramsey, please come see Jeffrey today at 5 p.m. instead of 4 with a blank. Okay, yes, I'll bring her at 4. Sure, no problem. Super, thanks. Hilarious. And I'm just looking for... There's no place mentioned. But, you met him. You had a meeting with him. Met the guy. Look, was your job, of course. Hi, Ramsey. Just confirming you will see Jeffrey tonight at 7 p.m. at Jeffrey's home address. Yes, we'll be there at 7. Great. Notice the date, 2013. You went to his house multiple years. At least once. At least once. If you need to call the house for any reason, phone number. Thanks. Oh, you might not have had his cell phone number, but in this email, he clearly gave you a home phone number. So, I've never been a big fan of people who play the semantics game. Let's see. Just more of them meeting, to be honest with you. That's kind of what this collection is. It's just them meeting a bunch. The Polish girl from a couple years ago is in town. She asked about you, so I guess she is ready. I get back from Miami last week. Tonight? Sure, what time? 9. They met a lot. Met quite a few times. And of course, for the job, I'm sure only. Blank and blank. The girl from a couple years ago. Oh, this is a continuation. So sorry. She knows nothing about you going away. Cute. This is in 2011. Now, I wonder what they mean by she knows nothing about you going away. I know this. I'm saying I'm not assuming anything, but how I know this phrase, something you say when someone's gone to prison. No, I'm not saying that that's what this is. I'm just saying that's how I've come to understand such a phrase. She knows nothing about you going away. Could mean a lot of different things. Okay? Could mean a lot of different things. Going away, I mean, Jeffrey traveled a lot. Maybe they were dating, stepping out on her. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. I have no idea. Don't know. Don't know what it means. But what I know it to mean is that. Could be wrong, of course. Could be wrong. Here we are. It's another one. Hi, Ramsey. Circling back. Will 11:30 a.m. work for you to visit Jeffrey this Sunday, March 4th? Please let me know. Feel free to suggest another time. Hey, blank. Blank won't be free until 3 p.m. on Sunday, so very flexible. Hey, Ramsey, can we make it 4? Will it be you and blank? Yes, I'll bring her at 4. Ramsey, please come see Jeffrey today at 5 instead of 4 with blank. Okay. Sure. No problem. Sure, thanks. I may want to invite someone to see him tomorrow as well. A blast from the past, you can tell him, if he's still in town. And, it's sad is you see all these redactions. But to be honest with you, there's a lot of copies of these files in which these names are not redacted. And I was able to pull, I believe, like 3 or 4 redaction names from these redacted areas. And, I don't know if they're victims or not. I don't know what the protocol was with redacting these women. I don't know if they're victims. There's pictures of some of the women. There's like 2 sets. There's like 1 set of redacted pictures that Ramsey Elkholy sent to Jeffrey, and there's another set that is redacted. I don't know if they're victims or not. I would hate to wrongfully expose them. Hey, Ramsey says you are checking to see if your friend could meet by today. At 4:30, might you know if this person is able to? Question mark. If so, could you pass along the name? I'll come with her. Try to bring along another model as well. Or painter. I believe I heard this one. Can make it 4. Thanks. Sorry, guys. A lot of duplicates. While I was copying the files, I just went through so many. Excellent. Thanks. In a way, a lot of them are ordered. Again, they're continuations off one another. So, yeah, we have this one here. Blank, the Polish girl from a couple years ago. She's in town tonight. Sure what time. She knows nothing about you going away. Cute, Jeffrey says. Thanks for taking the time. She was thoroughly impressed. What now? I'll try to find her an agency that will sponsor her visa so she stays. So, again, a lot of these models were really desperate. They were mostly foreigners from Eastern Europe. But there's also some from South America and just Europe in general. And a lot of them really wanted work visas. A lot of them were pretty desperate. You'll see how desperate some of them were. And there's a pretty big one in these. There's a couple in these collection that I've put together that really expose the, quote, relationship this guy had with Jeffrey. Okay? And it's about what you expect from a photographer, to be honest with you. I'm not, it's what it is. So this is everything okay? I sold my apartment. We'll be moving in a couple weeks. Been very wrapped up in that. This is, I believe, from Elkholy. Yes, I'll be back next weekend. Are you around? Are you in town? Do you need me to ask? Antoine, or it's not pronounced Antoine. I don't know how it's pronounced. Anything cute? Yes, both. House tomorrow evening. I can come by with 2 cute friends. Called me this morning. I am accidentally showing a phone number. I'm not going to take responsibility for that. That is unfortunately, should be redacted. It's not. Can we do 5? One of the girls is working today. We would tomorrow work. Would like to come over with both the same day. So it's also extremely funny here. So let me. What did he say? He said he had never even had his phone number. That's what he said. Never even had his phone number. From Jeffrey to Elkholy, call me this morning. There's a phone number there. I'm not gonna say it out loud. I'll probably already get in a little bit of trouble just for showing it. Can we do 5? That's the second time, by the way, I've seen a phone number get transferred between Jeffrey to Elkholy. Interesting lie. I don't know why you listen. You know what's so funny? I don't know why you would send me this email. I don't know why you would send me this email. I get it. You're probably in so deep that you feel the need to just outright lie to cover your tracks. Fine. I kind of get it. But you just shouldn't have sent it to me. I would have forgotten about you. But you send me this email full of lies. It takes me less than half a day to put together a hit piece to show that you're lying. He never sent me it. I never had his phone number. There's him sending you the phone number right fucking there. Okay? As if that would matter. As if that even matters, considering how much communication went on. As if that should even matter. You also talked on Facebook. It's like one of the first places you talked. We all know most communication doesn't happen through text anyway. Email, Discord, Facebook. Okay? So it's always been like that. Nice try, though. You haven't been to his home. Well, I've got you going to 3 different places in 3 different years that Jeffrey calls his home. To his house. I've got one email that says that you went there alone. Couldn't have been for business. Okay, names. Can I send you Christina at 6? Please mention Vera Wang showroom. And to be honest with you, that chain of messaging kind of gets real crazy. They start talking about some personal stuff. Can't remember how I've written it down, but, whatever. Oh, this is the same one. See how here was her name. We just saw that this name is Christina, and all of a sudden it's redacted. I'm sorry. Same with the phone number. Now it's redacted. The files, man. The people who redacted these things are just, I don't know, retarded. I don't know what else to say. What else to call them? But, a lot of the victims were quite pissed that their phone numbers, that their faces, were just exposed. And I have not only do I have proof that they were redacting some of Elkholy's files, and he's not the only one. They redacted a lot of celebrities, okay, because they just did it poorly. But the fact that they didn't redact some victims, I've literally seen full names of victims in these files. That's how crazy it is. Okay, full names, pictures, the whole fucking wazoo. It's wild. Both girls are coming. Smiley. Vera Wang. I don't know if that's a model. I don't think so. I think it's like a place or some shit. Doesn't really matter to me. Let's see here. We have another one. Are you home around 2-ish? 3. Traffic. Be there in 5. I believe that is one where he's actually going to Jeffrey's home by himself, or maybe it's the previous one. I don't know. Who cares? Can I come by in 5 minutes with them? Okay. Oh, here it is. Jeffrey, are you home? I'm meeting 2 Russian girls in Central Park in a bit. One is cute. Haven't seen her friend yet. I'm home. Can I come by in 5 minutes with them? Okay. Well, I'm not a super genius or anything. I dropped out of college. But from me, what that sounds like is that Mr. Elkholy went to Jeffrey's home and did it. He also brought 2 Russian women with him. That's what it sounds like. 2 Russian girls. One is cute. Haven't met her friend yet. And again, I know I'm hammering it home here, but, again, the email, they weren't that close. He has never been to any of his homes in Florida, New Mexico, or Paris. Well, he's been to his fucking home in New York. Okay? So, I'm supposed to give this guy... Good job, Elkholy. Good job. You didn't go to his home in Paris or Florida or New Mexico. You only went to his house in New York. You only met him in 1,000 other places. Yeah, okay. Kudos to you, buddy. Kudos to you. Good job. So Blank and Blank met yesterday. Apparently they hit it off. Blank said all good things about you, and Blank wants to meet you now. Much easier than I thought it would be, Smiley. Only problem is that she leaves for Moscow in a few days. Is there anyone else Blank should meet? Blank and Blank want to meet with Jean-Luc. I don't see the point. She's with next. Jean-Luc, by the way, is a known pedophile. Another known pedophile. Okay? This is in 2009. This is in 2009. Jeffrey was convicted in 2008. This is in 2009. Again, I can't presume to know what he knew. But what I know from what I've heard is that Jeffrey was already a known pedo at this point. Okay, and Jean-Luc, I don't know how well he was known, but we know now, of course, that he's another one. Okay? All right. That's mostly what I have on the meeting. All the different meets that they had, specifically. But here's the friend request on Facebook that I believe kicked off their relationship, which means they talked on Facebook. I didn't see those messages. I'm not sure if they were scooped up, but this is I believe this is their first contact here in 2009. And again, Jeffrey was convicted in 2008. Let's see here. I just want to make sure it's a lot to read, so skip through. If you are entrance, go to the city guard. There's a whole ass address here from LA. Let's see. Pictures. How are you? Vincent has suggested Blank come see you on the 20th. Would that work for you? She's flying in from New York this morning. So I guess anytime after 1. This is someone named Kim. I think I need to remember that somebody is someone who's in the know was looking for some of the side people who were involved. Kim, I believe, is one of them, like one of Jeffrey's early assistants. Be wrong, but this looks like again him visiting Jeffrey and at his home. Great, could you please send address? You are coming from. This is an explanation on how to get there. Actually, it's the full-on address. Hi, Ramsey. She was very sweet. This is. See a name here, slightly unredacted from blank to blank. Hi, Ramsey. She was very sweet. We liked her a lot. She had a great body. Beautiful girl. We already casted all our models this season. We are already set. We can look at her again for next season. Thanks, Kim. Please call. Look what guest people said. Please call when you can. I want to talk to you. Also, I want to apologize for not coming when I promised. I have trouble traveling. It's just my papers taking so long. I thought I'd get my visa and come see you immediately. And after, we'll go straight to Paris. Straight to Paris. I wonder who has a in Paris. Lawyer promised visa on the 1st of September. It's already October. So I paid them extra this week to have premium process. Get an answer in 15 days. Kiss. It's a lot of meetings between him and Epstein. A lot. Please mention Vera Wang showroom. So kind of a follow-up on one of the earlier emails. One of the girls is working today, but tomorrow work. Would like to come over with both of them on the same day. Are you in town? Yeah. I mean, they're talking about meeting at one of his homes, by the way. It's not another place. This is in 2013. So we've literally pulled him meeting one of, going to Jeffrey Epstein's home, almost at least once a year so far, since they met. Where are you? I will be in Paris next. I'm in New York, flying to Bangkok on Wednesday. This part here is from Ramsey. I know a nice model in Paris now, but she's telling me she's busy working. Google Nastia Chu, which I assume is probably the model's name. Working on another girl who's in Paris, but maybe back in Slovakia now, waiting for a response. I thought this was interesting. David Blaine, this is from Epstein. David Blaine is also with me there. We can invite these girls to a fun dinner. Now, that doesn't sound very professional to me, Mr. Elkholy. That doesn't sound professional at all. But at least you got to meet David Blaine, huh? Slovak girl's in Paris, and she can meet you and David with a friend. She's telling me her Slovak number doesn't work, so I can connect you guys by email. Let me know if that's okay. How kind of you, Mr. Elkholy, to connect these two women to Jeffrey Epstein and David Blaine, apparently. How great. You're so kind. Gotta make sure I, show context with these files, because I would hate for something like that to be shown out of context. Just be terrible for Mr. Ramsey. I hope. Hi, Ramsey. Just reconfirming, you will see Jeffrey tonight at 7 p.m. Jeffrey's home address. It's the New York one. And again, this is in 2013. So it's a different year than the 2014 and the 2015. I need to call. If you need to call the house for any reason, there's a phone number. 7 p.m. is fine. Okay, so I have you lying from the email he said that you didn't have his phone number and you didn't go to see him in any of his homes or whatever. Right here in one email, I have you lying. Not very good, buddy. Not very good. Yes, we'll be there at 7. Thanks, Leslie. And of course, the phone number there is unredacted. Not my fault. That is the fault of the DOJ. They should have redacted your phone number. That's Epstein's phone number, so I guess it doesn't matter. This is sort of context for their relationship. This guy kind of plays it off like they're not really friends. They didn't have that type of kind of relationship. It's just not true at all. They did. Not going to say anything. I guess I'm breaking up with Piotrek again. So for context, because context matters, this is Elkholy sending Jeffrey Elkholy's conversation with one of the models who was having boyfriend troubles. And the interest here is kind of interesting. What did he do? It's not about what he did, but what about what he hasn't done for the past 3 years, even 20 years. Even 20 years old, Lizzie is shocked. He doesn't pay for anything. My effing heart breaks. I'm confused, like number 4, going back home in a few days. Have no clue what to do anymore. Wrote him, honestly, how I feel. Whatever. She's, of course, complaining, and he's sending the complaints to Jeffrey, and they're kind of laughing about it. You should email her and say Jeffrey was right. You should have listened. That's from Jeffrey. Blank sent me this. I wonder if some subliminal way you had an effect on her. I wonder what that means, because again, it's supposed to be a professional relationship. They didn't have that special type of relationship, but I wonder what that means. I wonder if in some subliminal way you had an effect on her. Kind of effect, I imagine. Don't know. Hello, Ramsey. Hope you're well. Might you and your friend be available to come see Jeffrey on Wednesday, July 17th? It's the same address, probably the same email, to be honest with you. Hi, Ramsey. Just reconfirming Jeffrey will see you and your friend tonight at home at 8 p.m. Thanks. I believe this is Leslie, but can't confirm. Hi, Leslie. Oh, okay, I can't confirm. Sorry. The girl is working tonight. I will come by alone and say hello. How nice is it that Mr. Elkholy couldn't bring one of the young models for Jeffrey, but he wanted to go and visit Jeffrey all by himself, his doorman, his not friend, his random business person that he randomly talked to, or sparingly talked to. How great is that? Not a friend, though, just a doorman type. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Are you in town? Do you need to ask Antoine anything cute? Yes, both. How's tomorrow evening? I can come by with 2 cute friends. One of the girls is working today with tomorrow work. Would like to come over the same day. So just a follow-up to that email. Please mention Vera Wang showroom. Now looks like just one, but the better one, very innocent. You have met Lizzie already. American girl. So there is a narrative here where you can piece it together. I kind of don't want to do that because then I can very easily figure out who these women are, to be honest with you. It's not, a lot of their first and last names, their agencies, and then their relationship with each other. And then to do that on stream and expose them, it's not healthy. There's no particular reason to do it other than it would harm them. So but what I'm saying is there is enough information in these emails because of the really poor redactions that you can very easily find these models. I'm not saying they're victims, maybe they're just models. I don't know. But again, extremely interesting that he says, but the better one, very innocent. Maybe that's just photographer speak, of course. I'm sure that matters a lot. Here's another one. Glad to see you are having fun. What happened to the idea? I met blank dash 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 story. So I believe this here. This is another common form of redaction. It's like a hard redaction. So it's, I don't know if it's been deleted or how it works, but I believe that was an image, a picture that was sent. And my assumption here, based on the follow-up message, is that it was Elkholy with this woman and some other things that I've read. I think they were on a tour or some. They were, like on a maybe like a carnival or something like that. But he says, "Glad to see you're having fun. What happened to the idea? I'm at blank dash 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 story. I was going to introduce you to blank when I come back next week. How did you meet her? The idea is still on, but I don't have anyone to do the hands-on day-to-day stuff, set up meetings, recruit, etc. What about that girl, Sarah? Not sure what else to say about Sarah. She's very conservative. She can't do the work for you. Alicia wrote me out of the blue, asking me for your contact. What should I tell her? Give it." So, again, he just, he acted as a point man for him to connect him with young women. And I think that was in 2015. This is them talking about a failing Brazilian modeling company. And again, I'm just trying to kind of show you their relationship because it was more than just friendly and business. There was business pleasure involved. Do you think El Oficial, when they launch in the US spring, will succeed and make money? In other words, should I get in pre-IPO or stay away? So he did ask him a lot for stock advice. He asked him for stock advice on this company and Apple. Stay away, Jeffrey says. Not uncommon. A lot of people went to Jeffrey for stock advice. Even like Bill Gates went to Epstein for stock advice. I think it was another large way he made money. He had a lot of inside track when it came to stocks. And we know this kind of from the geopolitical side, what we've investigated, because he had his hands in a lot of politicians' pockets. So he kind of knew what world events were going to happen, and he could capitalize on that. And then he would pass that information along to other clients, celebrities, rock stars, whoever. Stay away. Grr, I think of, oh yeah, here's a nice little fun way that Ramsey likes to speak. Grr, think of all the girls I would have effed. Okay, I'll pass on it. Maybe just buy Brazil for a couple $100K. That will ensure a steady stream of punani. So again, he is talking about a Brazilian brand, a publisher company, a modeling company. And it's extremely interesting that this guy is totally innocent and just locker room talk says that, grr, think of all the girls I would have effed. Okay, I'll pass on it. Maybe just buy Brazil for a couple $100K. That will ensure a steady stream of punani. Sorry, print is dead. And to value a well-known brand like that at 13 mil is very reasonable. I would have bought 5% for 400K. Well, I mean, this guy's he's not shy about that kind of speak. Okay. But again, hey, they wanted me to provide context, so yeah, I'm just making sure I'm providing context. Unfortunately, here is 2 more names I'm accidentally exposing. Sorry once again to these people. They should be redacted. They're not. Jeffrey, are you in town? Can I ask you a rhinoceros favor? I'll be in DC next week. This is 2015 again. I'll be in DC next week with a girl, and her mother would like to take them on the West Wing tour. I don't know what that is. Not enough time to write a letter telling them who I am and waiting to see if they approve or not. Are you able to make a call and request for me +2? Of course, I will return the favor. I don't know how he plans on returning the favor, yes, but yes, I took the day off to ride some roller coasters, so he spent some interesting time with these models. Uh, Jeffrey says, send me all the details, and he says the names. I'm not going to read them out loud. They are there. They could do the tour either this Thursday or Friday. Thanks. We'll bring blank over one day this weekend if you're around. That's interesting that that name is redacted, but those at the top are not. So if I had to draw a conclusion from that, this is probably a victim. I hate to say it, but it's probably a victim. If these girls' names are not redacted, then and this one is, then that tells me they're underage. Maybe they're a victim. I don't know. Don't know really know why else that name would be redacted, but those at the top aren't. So again, their relationship was close enough that he visited by himself to Jeffrey's home, even though the email said he didn't or whatever. Another name. I met said person. She said she met with you and Mark and blank. And again, unfortunately, again, another name is redacted, and this person's isn't. And I've seen this name unredacted too. Don't know. I've seen the follow up on this email. He says that he didn't meet these people. I don't really know how true that is, but again, here's some interesting message. He says, "Here are a few taken a week after her baby was born. I couldn't find the images, so I don't have further context on what would be in those photos. I hate to assume, again at face value what it means. To be honest, I'm hoping to give you the benefit of the doubt, Mr. Elkholy. That's not what I think it is. Here are a few taken a week after her baby was born. Not good. Good for you. Sorry, I was doing some kind of independent there's a weird thing that happened where I think it's quite right. So this is pictures here. These are pictures. You can't see them. They're redacted. They're removed from the files. And the subject here is for my private reserve. It's from Jeffrey. For my private reserve. And let me go back because I wanted to check the timeline on that file. So this was 2011, 9:30, and the mention about babies. I want to see if they line up. I'm gonna be horrified if they did. 8/16/2011, 9/30/2011. They're close. They are close, but not the same subject. This has also been redacted. So I don't know. I would hate to think that that is what it could be. I'm gonna, for the sake of humanity, my own humanity, I'm going to assume it's not. 9/29/11. Fortunately, they're like these emails are sent like close together, guys. I'm not saying that they are what it is, but these emails are kind of close together and they are weirdly scattered like this. This is not really normal. And this is what I mean by probably redacted here. Thanks, I love getting these, whatever, such and such about the baby, prior reserve. I'm not gonna do it. I can't say it out loud, not in this video. But, you know. This is where he asks Epstein about help for his sister who has cancer, which again just kind of goes to show you the relationship. I'm not here to pick on the sister. I'm not here to make fun of Ramsey for it. But he says, any new options for cancer these days? My sister's in pretty bad shape. Need to know more, says Epstein. I do kind of want to point out the fact that when anyone is asked what Jeffrey's job was the most common answer I've ever heard was, I don't know, or he was a tax lawyer. Now, here he's obviously acting as point man for these models to get into agencies, or as someone who can get that connection started. But, like, he also asked Jeffrey here about cancer treatment. I mean, maybe he knows Jeffrey's so rich, he think he can help, but my guess is, he's probably slightly more in on the know about what Jeffrey can and can't do. Maybe he's just desperate. Any word from this is a photographer, Ramsey Elkholy, by the way, just potty talk. This is in 2017, so it is almost 10 years ago. Any word from Anna? Maybe I'll give her a story in L official. Need to tap that before I die. Laughy face. This is from Ramsey. Again, that should be enough, okay, to cement Elkholy's career as a celebrity. That should be enough. I don't care if that's the way you talk. I've never in my life talked about taking advantage of my management position so that I could have relations with women. Ever. Never, never, never. It's completely wrong. In fact, you're doing it. You're playing out the hypothetical. Twice now we've shown this. So it's like you probably would have if you could have. I'll ask, says Jeffrey. Jeffrey is quite dry with this guy for whatever reason. In a lot of the emails, I do see Jeffrey kind of, like have some fun and they, banter a little bit in the emails. And Jeffrey's he's slightly friendly with the guy, but I just don't think Jeffrey liked this guy all that much, to be honest with you. But he helped him out more than once, so he liked him enough. Here we go. Here's a big one. This is in 2014. Ramsey Elkholy. To me. Let me read up. Sorry, down, up, down, up. Sorry, have to run. I don't know what the email is before that. No worries. How long are you in town for? I leave for Paris at 4. You look good. What is the status of your new apartment? I can either Skype with blank or meet with her for an hour or so today. Otherwise, I am back Sunday next week for the day. All right, and here's where things get bad. Okay. Again, I would never have made it to this point if you didn't send me that email. So thank you for helping me expose you further. I suggest you concentrate on blank. She said she would do anything to work for you. Anything. I think blank is a very uptight older model. I think she has trouble. I know you said you thought she was smart, but blank is smarter. You know best. Here's blank Skype address. You are wasting your time. See you soon. Skype. So, I mean, not really sure I need to spell it out anymore. She said she would do anything to work for you, anything, and anything is in all caps. So, I'm not going to harp on that any more than what it is. Maybe SI swimsuit photographer or casting director. Let me ask. Thanks. These are more. So again, a lot of times these files, they have pictures, but they've been taken out. This is a blank book is the subject. Thanks. Oh, so here's another one. So I can't prove it. I cannot connect these to the subject that said for my private reserve. But I do think they're linked on Jeffrey. Jeffrey says, thanks. I love getting these. And Elkholy says, the lineup of girls was shot with you in mind. Smiley face. Listen, I'm not going to presume to know what that means, or at least I'm not going to say it out loud for fear of litigation. But you are more than willing to go ahead and explain to the crowd what the lineup of girls who shot with you in mind means. What does that mean? You tell us. Okay? You tell us what that means. Go ahead. All right. There's a longer one. So this contains. So these are pictures, obviously, of the young women. So blank and blank met yesterday. Apparently they hit it off. Blank said all good things about you, and Marta wants to meet you now. Much easier than I thought it would be. Only problem is that she leaves for Moscow in a few days. Is there anyone else Blank should meet? Blank was the other girl, but she's always around. I don't have as much flexibility with her. It's more a business relationship. Interesting to say that out loud because that's all your relationships with her should be. So it would be hard to get her to come down to Miami. Yeah, interesting to say that too. But when you are in New York, we could set something up, a casting or something. Blank was the other girl. She would meet with Blank, but she could bring her boyfriend along. He's a Russian guy, and he's always with her, even to Milan and Paris shows, but they fight occasionally and don't talk for a few days, so maybe Blank could meet them and get Blank contact. And next time the BF isn't around, I could let you know. Why is that necessary for a pure business relationship? So that context here matters. I'm making sure to include a lot of context. Here's where the email gets extremely interesting. Blank was really the one I wanted to meet. Had her in mind while you were away as a sort of coming out gift. Her body is 5'11", is amazing, and her eye color is a shade of blank. I don't. Why is that? Is that fucking blacked out? I have never seen before. She's got something about her, very refined looking, more L.A. Perla than Victoria's Secret. Her hair is darker now, but here are some body shots to give you an idea. Listen to this. The girl is gorgeous. I was blown away the first time I met her in person, wanted to tear her clothes off immediately. I really want you to meet her, and now she is saying she wants to meet you. So it would be a shame if you didn't see her before she leaves the country. Pictures. Okay. Yes, this is just the normal potty mouth locker room talk that all of us have, of course. Yeah, I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so. We already saw this one. Okay, so those are all the emails that I wanted to go over. Lastly, I have kind of just proof some of the photos that were sent. So there are unredacted versions of these photos. I'm not showing you them here. But I mean, this is probably pretty normal considering he is in fact a photographer. Again, I don't understand Jeffrey's role entirely, besides being like an unofficial point man for these people. And of course, this is after he was a convicted sex offender twice. This is in 2014. He did send photos. And so now we're going to read the article that was posted that Mr. Elkholy's or the band's manager says is a lie. And we'll use what we just kind of went through. Fresh from his 18-month sentence in Florida for soliciting prostitution from a minor, Jeffrey Epstein found a willing ally in Ramsey Elkholy of the New York-based music collective Monotronic. An October 14th, 2009 email captures Elkholy adding Epstein as a Facebook friend. True, we showed that. Elkholy first surfaced in the Epstein saga through a 2023 Wall Street Journal investigation, which identified him as a modeling scout who introduced several women to Epstein at his Manhattan townhouse. True. We have proof of that. In the years following his 2008 conviction. Yes. Elkholy denied any wrongdoing or awareness of the exploitation through his lawyer. Well, if he did admit it, then he would be in trouble, wouldn't he? So he's forced to deny it. He did not realize at the time that Epstein was such a manipulator and sexual predator. So this is the narrative. I'm gonna drink my coffee. Sorry if there's silence. It's just me today. Bear with me for a second, guys. Yum. This is the narrative that all of these, quote, innocent people are putting forward is Jeffrey was a master manipulator. Go suck my fucking dick, okay? We just exposed to the emails very clearly that you knew about, even if you didn't know Jeffrey's interest in little girls, you clearly understood his interest in women in general. We just read an email where you talked about how you really wanted to tear off a girl's clothes and you were going to send Jeffrey body shots of the girl. You sent 2 girls to go meet Jeffrey and David Blaine to have a fun time. You brought many girls over with to Jeffrey's house, Manhattan house, a lot of times. So to play the innocent card, the master manipulator, and that you didn't know, I'm not buying it. You're not the only one who said that bullshit. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck anyone who says that stupid ass nonsense. It's a lie. At minimum, you knew that he was a predator of some sort. You knew that. Just gonna check something really quick, guys. Okay. You knew damn well. But this is the law approach for these people. They're all saying the same narrative. Jeffrey's a master manipulator. Yeah, clearly he's a master manipulator. Come to my place. Bring 2 girls. Okay, Jeffrey. I'll bring 2 models. 2 cute models. Yeah, Jeffrey really manipulated my guy. I could tell by the way you were on your knees begging for tickets to whatever the fuck. Yeah, he clearly manipulated you. I don't see any form of manipulation at all, actually. And none of those files did Jeffrey say any form of blackmail, like you better get me women. You were on your knees begging to send Jeffrey women, from what I could tell. At any opportunity you saw. Hey, Jeffrey, check out this picture of this chick I just fucking met in Latvia. In Moscow. She's leaving tomorrow. Quick, Jeffrey, quick. He's manipulating you. Where? Show me the manipulation. I went through 400 files today. 400 files today. I just read a lot of them out loud. Not a single one shows any form of manipulation. But, again, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's the same lawyer lie that they all keep posting. My client was starstruck being around Epstein and the celebrities in his orbit. He tried to impress him. He deeply regrets his interactions with Epstein. Really, that's what he regrets, his interactions with Epstein? He doesn't regret hooking Epstein up with the women? Of course, you can't say that, because again, you'd be legally liable. Scumbag, dickhead, douchebag, piece of shit. We would hate for you to be legally liable. Oh no, you got hurt. You lost your job. Nobody wants to watch your fucking shitty music anymore, or whatever the hell you did, to be honest with you. I don't even know. I'm getting harassed. How about the women? What about them? I wonder what happened to them when you were sending them over to Jeffrey Epstein's apartment by themselves. Hey, can I send blah, blah, blah over today at 5, at 6, at 4, your Manhattan house? Hey, I'll come over, stop by alone. Hey, come over, I'm bringing 2 girls with me. You deeply regret your interactions. I wish you regretted introducing those women to Epstein. That's what I wish you regretted. That's what I wish. And you know what? Maybe, just maybe, if you had come out and said, damn, you know what? I didn't know. I had no idea. I thought he was just a point man to the companies. I thought I was doing these women a favor. I thought I was saving them from being dirt poor. I thought I was introducing them to a very generous man. Where's the manipulation? Because if you're being manipulated, then you see that person as above you, as either having control of you, in some way, shape, or form. There's no control. He didn't ask most of the time for you to bring women over. You just sent them over. No manipulation. Starstruck? Maybe, but you're a grown ass man. You're still responsible for your actions. I don't care if you are starstruck. And who the hell is Jeffrey Epstein that you're starstruck by him? A known pedophile? If you're starstruck by a known pedophile, I think that says a lot about you. What is it? What is Epstein? To this day, none of these people have been able to accurately tell me what Epstein's job truly was. I thought he was a tax lawyer. I thought he was a stock guy. Now he's a modeling agent. Man of many talents, apparently. I guess she would be starstruck by that. Tried to impress him. Deeply regrets his interaction. Well, you should regret introducing those women to him. I don't regret making the previous video about you. I don't regret then clipping that footage and putting that video together. And I'm not going to regret making this video or then clipping these pieces together and posting these online too. Okay? I don't regret that your job has been ruined. I don't give a flying fuck. And again, maybe if you'd come out and shown some form of responsibility. Shit, fuck, I didn't know. I feel so bad. I would apologize to those women. You fucking don't. You regret the interactions because of how it's affecting your career now. You didn't show remorse then. You had tons of that potty talk you said you had. And there's no doubt in my mind that that type of shit continued. Yet, the newly released DOJ email tranche shatters the narrative of innocence and naivety. Far from being starstruck and oblivious to Epstein activities, Elkholy's correspondent reveals a man keenly attuned to Epstein's sexual appetites. I agree, considering you said yourself that you put together a line of women directly in line with Epstein's taste, with him in mind, you said. That's what you said. Put together photographs with Epstein in mind. That's what you said. So you're keenly aware of his taste. So they're not lying there. Elkholy positioned himself as a procurer of women tailored to those desires. All adults, based on digital music news examination of the exchanges, but pitched with erotic intent and trickery. Yeah, there's quite a bit of that. And I'm not scared to say that I couldn't find any evidence that you were peddling young minors. I couldn't. There was maybe one or two mentions of maybe Jeffrey kind of thought that what's her name was lying about her age and such. But he's right. There's no explicit evidence that you were procuring minors for Jeffrey, but women at minimum. And they definitely were pitched with erotic intent. I really want to tear her clothes off. You're going to love her. Elkholy didn't respond to multiple requests from comments from DMN, sent to different email addresses discovered in Epstein tranche. It's funny enough that they emailed me. But thousands of Elkholy's unearthed emails to Epstein paint an extensive picture of a long-running relationship focused on procuring women. Young women, this is true. Those files span all the way from 2009 to, I believe, 2018. It's a long time. In an October 7th, 2009 exchange, Elkholy writes Epstein, I really want you to meet her. In my opinion, she is the best girl I have sent you. She's a gift that I had been planning on giving you upon your return. What an extremely interesting way to phrase your job position. Okay? What an extremely interesting way to describe introducing Jeffrey to a model for him to help reach an agency. Extremely interesting way. I'll just say that much. Days earlier, Elkholy emailed batches of photos with vivid come-ons and description of the women. One woman was as described it as a business-minded sex machine. Interesting. I didn't see that. But here's the very fun part about being me. I've become extremely efficient at being able to find these files. So bear with me for just a singular second. I've got 12 files here with that, And I can expose her name, sadly, because it is not redacted. Listen to this. Listen to this. Just pull a random file. I promise. I swear to God, I haven't seen this file. Listen to this. Oh my God. Okay. The files always start at the bottom. Okay. What about blank at women? I don't know what that means. A bit more complicated. I would need to be in New York to introduce her to blank or some other third party. Where is she from? Did you want to see blank? Well, one day this week, I think she leaves town on Friday. I can check with blank too to see if she's in town. Hopefully, you're in town. They should meet my Russian girlfriend. That's from Jeffrey. Leaving for Europe in about half an hour. We'll be back later tonight. Maybe we can set it up for tomorrow. Blank just arrived. New York. She can meet them, blank, or anyone else. She is fairly independent, and we'll invite them to Broadway or dinner, blank. This is, I assume it's Jeffrey's Russian girlfriend. Blank does not know about New York. I really appreciate it. Who is blank? I won't even try to understand you, Jeffrey. I spoke with blank boyfriend to see if he and blank, as a favor to me, could take blank for dinner or something, and he said it should be okay. Sorry about the boyfriend, but that was the only way. If I asked blank to do it alone, she would not have agreed. She's young, 19, and a bit feisty. So if blank and blank ever get a moment alone together, even if they're just hitting it off, the BF is there. She can ask for blank contact info and befriend her. Blank will do anything to get ahead in her modeling career, so don't let the BF discourage you. From what, Mr. Elkholy? Disparage him from what? I just can't ask her directly because I know she wouldn't go for it. She's kind of bitchy with other girls. From what? Where's blank going? Moving to Moscow, I think. Does she want to stay in one of my apartments till Saturday? Interesting. I kind of skipped over the the big stuff. Blank is moving out of her apartment in New York. Can't afford to live there anymore. I would have liked for you to see her. She's 23, but oozes sex. Okay, she's 23, but oozes sex. Why would her being 23 not? I don't know. If your taste is anything like mine, you will want to tear her clothes off the minute you see her. I was thinking maybe having a place for her to stay during her trips to New York would be a good angle since she doesn't have an apartment anymore. She leaves town on Saturday, I think. But if she is staying for longer, I'll let you know. They recently cut her very short hair. Her hair very short, dyed it black. But it's the body on this girl that will blow you away. 5'11" and truly a genetic masterpiece. This is a whole other girl. Blank is also 23, very hot blonde. We could set up a casting of some sort. I know her the least of all the girls, so maybe that would be the best way to play it. I know 23 is this. I know 23 is on the old side for you, but I think they're both worth meeting for different reasons. Okay, so I mean, this guy definitely understands Jeffrey's taste. I mean, he definitely knows what the fuck Jeffrey likes. I know 23 is on the old side for you, okay? But I think they're both worth meeting for different reasons. Blank is blonde arm candy. Not sure if she has BF. And blank is a business-minded sex machine. If you're okay with the blank plan, let me know how Mark can get a hold of blank, or she can call him directly, blank. Oh, it's a phone number. Oh, so interesting. It's yet another time in which they exchange phone numbers. Make sure she mentions my name. As of yesterday, he was saying yes, but he hadn't asked blank, so I'll let you know if anything changes. So, I mean, I just fact-checked the article on behalf of this company who posted the article. If your taste is anything like mine, you will want to tear clothes off the minute. Well, I mean, that's just clearly true. I just exposed it. So, again, context matters. Well, I just exposed all the context. Not only is it worse than what they've posted, but the context is even worse than what I had in my mind, just in general. And that became a well-worn ploy. Elkholy promised to send these women to Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, framing the visits to the women as castings, either for express campaigns or limited brand pitches. This is an example. I told Regina, Victoria's Secret probably, whatever happens is fine. needed to tell her something. This is kind of in line with what we just read, where it seemed like the goal was very much to get the women in the door, past the door. Okay. And from what I'm reading, it does seem like it is about, getting photos of these women and kind of classic photography, the dirty photography. There's also no doubt in my mind now, after going through the files again, plus the ones that I've seen extra, that there was also some sexual exploitation. Okay. Just saying. Now, of course, that's just my opinion. I'm not a professional. I'm just a random guy in a room somewhere. You guys are open to draw your own conclusions. Please don't listen to me, for I am just a stranger on the internet. I've never met Elkholy. I am just reading his email exchanges between Jeffrey Epstein. What you believe is what you believe. Could be just about the modeling career. Could be. I just don't think so. And now that that's the person who wrote this article. Elkholy's exchanges with Epstein reveal a quid pro quo dynamic between the two men, where personal favors begat promises of model scouting. This is the favor we read earlier. Elkholy once again asks Epstein for a favor to impress a woman he is pursuing, but who is friends with an ex-girlfriend of his. If you help me with this, I will more than make it up to you, he writes. As a tentative suggestion, I'd be willing to take a scouting trip to Europe for you, or something along those lines. Would be willing to discuss all. Suffice that I reciprocate with lots of time and energy. Should we open the file? What do we think? Should we just open the file to go see, just to make sure it's not out of context? Let me go check. There are quite a few files here. So usually the one that contains all of them is at the bottom, from what I've learned. Let's see. Is she with BF? Can you please ask her? Wow, this is an interesting file that I've just randomly pulled up. Would hate to miss out on context. Hey, Jeffrey, can I ask you a favor? I'm really interested in Anna Lauren. So my guess is this is that same Anna from before. I've always thought she was a nice girl, but she's friends with my ex, so it's a bit tricky. If you recall, my ex is the blonde girl. You were telling her that Anna has no guile, and you asked me to explain to her what guile meant. I was wondering if you'd be willing to invite Anna over sometime and tell her that you want to introduce her to a friend. Or whatever you want to tell her. I'd like to talk to her, but if I contact her directly, it could backfire because she's friends with my ex. I really like this girl, precisely because she has no guile. Something I need in my life right now. What the fuck? If you help me with this, I will more than make it up to you. As a tentative suggestion, I'd be willing to discuss taking a scouting trip to Europe for you, or something along those lines. Be willing to discuss all. Suffice to say that I would give lots of time and energy. Otherwise, I hope all is well. Book was just published. So, I mean, that sounds a lot more like a working relationship to me. I know Anna well. She is great. What is your ex's name? I will always do whatever I can for you. Wow. It's crazy that they're not even friends, and that he's willing to do so much for each other. You are amazing, Jeffrey. I will more than make it up to you. I'm dating one dishonest girl after another. I really think I would hit it off with Anna. She's a straightforward person with a great heart. The only issue is that she may still be dating a youngish French guy. 30, I think. But he plays poker with his friends while she sits at home by the phone. So I'm hoping she will understand the alternative I'm offering her. My ex, Anastasia Khan. Interesting. We don't talk, so I'm worried things could backfire if her name is mentioned, or if Anna speaks with her, because from what I understand, she doesn't say nice things about me. Concerned that Anna would believe her, seeing as they have been friends for years. It's so weird. This whole thing is weird in the sense that why would Jeffrey know this girl more than this guy? Like, what's the assumption here? All right, there's gonna be something more at play. Doesn't she live in New York? Jeffrey says. I haven't seen her since September. I lost contact with her when I broke up with her friend. Okay. She moved to LA some months ago. Sorry, I thought you knew. I will track her down, of course. Oh, sorry, that previous message was from Ramsey. This is from Epstein. I will track her down, of course, for you. Is she with BF? Could you please ask her? I will get all for you. Context matters. Don't worry, Mr. Manager or Elkholy himself. I made sure to provide context for the audience. I would hate for them to get the wrong impression of your relationship with Epstein. That would just be really bad. I would hate to besmirch your name, cause more harm on you. These damn women just causing all these problems for you. Your damn ex-girlfriend, this damn Anna. How dare they do this to you? The explicit barter, political access traded for scouting missions yielding women showcased the type of relationship these two men enjoyed. This transactional intimacy deepened over the years, blending procurement with mutual ambition. By 2016 and 2017, both Elkholy and Epstein appear to be discussing joint ownership of a Brazilian modeling agency, noting it would funnel 20 to 30 girls trying for the cover each month. Again, this could be taken out of context. On behalf of Elkholy and his people, let me make sure I provide context, because that would just be, so bad if this article was just taking things out of context. A Brazilian fashion magazine is for sale. This is in 2016. If we can get it cheap, would you like to buy it together? All castings can come through New York, so you could easily have 20 to 30 girls trying for cover each month. Just an idea. We'll get all the details ASAP, and we'll probably need to fly down to Sao Paulo for a few days. Just want to make sure there is no legal baggage or other issues. Would like to know the reason for selling, basically. Okay. Let me make sure that's the only one. Yeah. So I think that actually connects to the other email we covered, one where he talks about Punani. So, it sucks there that is actually more taken out of context than the other one by itself. Elkholy also sought Epstein's counsel on tax structures, even joking that buying into the ventures would ensure easy access to women to exploit sexually. Do you think El Official, when they launched in the U.S. this spring? We read that one already. Okay, I'll pass on it. Maybe just buy Brazil for a couple $100K. That will ensure a steady stream of punani. So, just reiterating what I just said. Elkholy ultimately passed on outright ownership of a Brazilian modeling agency like Joy Models, deeming it too risky without fully trusted on-site operator. So I'm passing instead by early the emails were that Elkholy found a cheaper workaround, paying off a local pub. Elkholy writes, being really seedy, trying to change the terms of the agreement. Like I am in a Turkish bazaar. Now again, I'd hate for this to be out of context, but I previously have gone through and I think I know what this is about. Let's see if I can find the email. And I think I found it. Let's see. L official is being really seedy and trying to change the terms of the agreement without discussing with me first. It's constant back and forth French style. I feel like I'm at a Turkish bazaar trying to buy a carpet or something. I walked away from the U.S. deal because they were trying to push together an agreement that would validate 50% of my shares only after 24 months. So this is just him. This is what he says. My main focus was on Brazil. Much cheaper shares and would get me the same results. In quotations, pussy. Sorry for the language. But now they're being shady again, even though I can prove that they're not negotiating in faith, and have therefore breached the terms of our MOU agreement. I don't know if the French courts would reimburse me for anything. Do you know of anything about how these work in Paris? The U.S. could litigate normal dealings, but again, context matters. I would hate for that previous message to be out of context. Not a good beginning. I would advise you to find something else, says Jeffrey. Harper's will about my legal fees. I'd like those efforts to reimburse me. I don't think it's fair for them to waste any time. Yeah, so listen here, buddy. I'm going to go ahead and on this say that you did fully understand what was going on with Jeffrey. Maybe not the child stuff, but you clearly understood what was going on between him and those models. Looks like you partook in some of those activities, or you were also an ambitious person yourself and wanted similar action based on these emails. Seems so wild to be able to say that. I still can't believe you sent me this email. Elkholy's name appears more than 2,000 times. This is true, and like I said, it is in the upper end. These email exchanges weren't the fumblings of a manipulated fanboy, but the confident moves of a confidant who knew exactly who Jeff Epstein was, what his predilections were. Yeah, I mean, again, maybe not the children thing. I don't see full-on evidence of that, minus the you saying that 23 is a little old for Jeffrey. But I do think you were definitely ambitious enough to try and go for the whole photographer takes advantage, or manager takes advantage of the women, just from what I've been able to see. Or at the very least, use your clout to screw women. Okay? You're easily a womanizer at minimum. At minimum, you're a womanizer. At minimum, you're a womanizer. At fucking minimum. Digital Music News can confirm after combing through email files that all the women delivered to Epstein by Elkholy appear to be legal of age. This is true. This is true. They also appear to be consenting adults. Though Elkholy alludes to feeding many of the women lines to get them to the apartment. True. Also, offers. Lots of offers were also seen to be exchanged. Again, not necessarily illegal, but dirty at best, or dirty at worst. In exchange dated February 27th, 2008, while pitching a woman named Natasha to Epstein assistant Leslie Groff, Elkholy confesses, "It's just that I can't send her there for nothing. She's a serious model, and I need to tell her it was for something. Actually, I just said express. Hadn't mentioned anything about limited brands." Well, again, I would hate for this to be out of context. So let's go ahead and search this up in the files. Because, like you said, everything just reads wrong out of context. No results. Oh, I can't actually seem to find this file. But let me just double check. I should be able to. Let me look it up using this search. Okay, no results. So I don't know. I don't know why that's not showing. Just click it a bunch more times. Nope, can't find the file. That may have been taken down. Maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe they lied about that part. Don't know. In another exchange, well, let's see. They seem to have it here. Oh, they do. They have it in the Jmail too. That's actually so funny. So that means that the file was deleted, by the way. So it starts down here. It looks like it's a kind of long one. This one comes with photos. This is actually from the files. That's so crazy. Hi, Leslie. I hope you read this before you leave for the day. This girl's coming to see him about express campaign casting for a blonde. His shooting is in mid-April. Jeffrey can defer to the people organizing the job. Talk about express in the beginning because that's what I told her she's going for. We'll call around 4. Oh my god, there's actually so much here. Because I want to succeed in my career and I need to hurry up. Ex Sylvia. So there was this other woman, Sylvia, who he sent messages to. For me, and if I say anything I'm not sure about next, which is a modeling agency. Just kind of skimming through, guys. I just want Jeffrey to know that I did everything I could to defuse the situation. I've been on the side of Next from the start. Some kind of falling out with this chick and her previous agency, and so he's kind of introducing her to Jeffrey to get her a new gig. Hi, Leslie. This is Natasha, a Russian girl I think Jeffrey will like if he's in town. I would like to see her. Send her by anytime today. This girl's coming about Express. Then he's the pictures. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Let's continue. This is the end. So, drawing from his anthropology background, years spent in Sumatra's rainforest and Calcutta's classic musical scene, the band fuses indie rock, ambient electronics, and global rhythms into genre-bending tracks. Key releases from Monotronic include self-titled debut album in 2019, followed by singles such as Kiss of Summer, In Between, Everything Moves, and Looking Away EP. Very tempting to play the music and then judge it, but I won't, because that just gives them an excuse to copyright. But yes, so I was going to show more videos that were hidden in the files. I'm going to save that till Tuesday. This is already 2 hours long. And I'm just going to read the email here one more time before we close up shop. But yeah, this is the second video on Ramsey Elkholy of the Monotronic band. And this comes after the email they sent me. Hi there. Reaching out on behalf of Monotronic Management. The Epstein files are certainly a bombshell, and as you can probably imagine, spelt image, you know who had a lot of explaining to do? Yeah, the guy who owns the band. I guess I'll just start by saying that a lot of people are getting hurt by this, like people that have nothing to do with it at all. I manage the band, for example, and I've been putting in at least another 2-3 hours a day trying to connect with people to let them know that we are all equally disturbed by this. The other thing worth mentioning is that this was like 10, 15 years ago, well before hashtag Me Too, in an industry where unfortunately they do sometimes talk like that. That was a lot more than talking that went down. And again, I could probably excuse just the talk. There's also a lot of action involved. You don't go to Jeffrey Epstein asking about a business venture unless you mean it. And you don't go talking about how you can use that business venture to take advantage of women unless you mean it. Okay? I mean, it's fine. Listen, like, I know what locker room talk is. I locker room talk. It's fun. Okay? Never that bad. I've never landed in another country and said, did I close the email? I closed the email. Whatever, about little girls. That's never been something I've said. But, you know, I think most guys have locker talk with their buddies once or twice in some way, shape, or form, and women do it too. I've been around women who do. Almost every woman I've ever met has done it. Okay, even if it's just about a celebrity. This is not that. This is a lot more than locker room talk. It's action based on those things. And at worst, it's using your business to send women to a man who's known to be abusing position. Even asked him to help hook you up. They're talking about a model who won't do lingerie shoot for Victoria's Secret, which is potentially a huge amount of money. So that's where the frustration comes from. I don't particularly care about that one email, to be honest with you. I get it. She's 23. It's technically fine. She's a consenting adult, but she's super desperate for cash. It's creepy at best. It's predatory at worst. And a lot of the women seem to kind of come through based on that. You'll notice they're talking about money, and hopefully if you read some other messages, we've read a lot of other messages. You see the difference between the way Epstein talks to his friends involving young girls and the way Ramsey is talking to Epstein. Do you mean like when he said that he knows 23 is kind of too old for him? Talking about that? Which also has the locker room gross vibe that, according to him, embarrasses the shit out of him when he reads that today. Well, I'll say this. A lot of, quote, locker room talk, much more tame than that, has gotten people much worse. But what I wanted to point out is that during no time in these messages does Epstein reply in a sexual way, as he does with his friends. Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I still think that says a lot more about your client than it does Epstein. The fact is, they didn't have that type kind of relationship. I don't even know what you're referring to as in that kind of relationship. One where they don't talk about children? Maybe. One where they talk about young women and taking advantage of them? I mean, that relationship's definitely there. One where your boy asks Epstein for help and hooking him up with a woman? I mean, that's in there. One where your client asks Epstein in starting a business venture so that he can take advantage of women? I mean, that's in there. So what kind of relationship are they not interested in? And it looks like he's trying to impress him with the sex talk, albeit in a really stupid way, which he acknowledges now. Again, talk is talk. There's plenty of that. But he clearly asked to join in a business relationship. So it's more than talk that took place. It's a lot more than talk. It's a lot of action. You asked him for favors, said you'd return the favor. Okay? Anyway, I just wanted to explain that to the best of my abilities based on the explanation we have all gotten from him. And also wanted to let you know that we have all been hurt by this. Well, maybe if you didn't cling so close to him, maybe you wouldn't have gotten hurt. Canceled gigs, dropped by our management, and label my kids are getting bullied in school. Again, I feel sorry for your kids. I really do. Genuinely feel sorry for anyone's kids who's getting hurt by this. But I feel the most sorry for those young women and those little girls who have been hurt, murdered, worse. Okay? And maybe your client didn't, maybe he didn't know the severity of what was going on. It's possible. But he still sent women to that guy's house. He still went to that house with women. He still met with him. Okay? Listen, I've coached before. And if I had sent my students into a situation where it turned out they were being abused, I would feel guilty about that. And I would say, wow, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I'd probably talk to them personally. And the fact that you're more sorry about your, quote, relationship with Jeffrey than you are about what may or may not have taken place between him and those women says a lot about you. And the fact that you say you've heard his explanations and that's enough for you, woo, I don't know. And it all seems so pointless because so much of what was written in the article was simply not true. They weren't that close. He has never been to any of his homes in Florida, where a lot of that stuff with minors was going on. Oh, he's been to his homes in New York, where a lot of that stuff happened. We have videos of Jeffrey and little girls leaving that same home. By the way, there is a video of Jeffrey Epstein leaving that same apartment that Elkholy visited and left. That same exact apartment. With the Australian Prime Minister's 14-year-old daughter by herself with Epstein. So don't sit here and play this card of you've never been to any, oh, I wasn't at the Florida house, I wasn't at the island, I wasn't at the ranch. You've been to some of the homes in which abuse took place. Don't play that shit. We have proof. We tracked it. You're a liar. You're a liar by omission. And if you're not him, you're the manager, then you need to do your due diligence. Over the course of those 10 years living in the building, if every interaction represents an email, you're going to have around 2,000 emails. Try reading some of the other emails where they're talking about fashion, blah, blah, blah. Book publishing, you'll see the relationship not based on sex trafficking. No, it's mostly spent talking about sending Jeffrey women and about those women. That's what it's about. The person who wrote that article cherry-picked the messages. It was very much a hit piece. I hope in time people will see that. Sorry for the super long message. Wanted to let you know that it's been a really hard time for all of us, so why kick people when they're down? I don't know who people are, to be honest with you. I don't know you guys. I don't give a fuck about your band. I couldn't care less. As far as I know, you can simply replace the guy and it'll be the same fucking band. I have no idea. I've never listened to a song. Didn't even know who you were. Could not be bothered, to be honest. Don't give a flying fuck. I'm not kicking you while you're down, or at least I wasn't until you sent me this email. Sorry you're down. Maybe do better research on who you're working with. I've done research on who I'm working with. Okay? I've had to not work with somebody because they had a really bad history. Most people, when they're hiring or when they're going into a job, they do some research. And Epstein was the known pedo in 2008. Your client met Epstein in 2009. Your client, your owner, whatever the fuck. I don't know. So, would be great if we could put this to rest. Well, this video is definitely not going to put it to rest. Okay? But at least to give yourself enough time to read all the messages. I just cannot imagine at this point what is in the leftover 3,500 emails that would make me go, oh, all that other stuff makes sense. I can't imagine after 2 hours I've spent here going through, 400 emails, that the rest that I haven't read is going to make me go, oh, okay. Mr. Elkholy, he wasn't when he talks about little girls and Latvia and fucking trying to get Jeffrey to hook him up with this Anna and asking for favors. Yeah, I'm sure all that stuff just makes a lot of sense now. Yeah, I'm sure there's an email somewhere in there that just justifies all of the times that he sent women to the Manhattan address, all the times he visited Jeffrey by himself. I'm sure there's something that just kind of clears it all up. I'll tell you what, I've gone through 400 myself. You say you've done your research. You tell me what what exactly in those files clears his name. You send it to me, because I don't want to go through another 400, let alone 3,400 files. I don't really want to. You tell me. And then there would be some context for these kinds of conversations. Well, to be honest with you, it's not hard to get the context. You just take a line from the emails or from the article, you put it in the DOJ search bar, you click the lowest one, and then it shows you the entire fucking conversation that took place. All the way from you saying that he never went to Jeffrey's home, even though in those emails it says he did, all the way to you never received any of his cell phone number, even though you received 2 phone numbers, all the way to him meeting with Jeffrey at his home with the women. So, I don't want, even just on the foundation, let's say I never even posted that video, you just sent me this email. If I just picked apart this email, I could find 3 or 4 lies instantly. You say the article's bullshit. I just went through the article and I just proved most of the article correct. They cherry-picked messages. I mean, I guess. Like, okay, sure. Most of the conversation is about bookings and publishings and about work. That's great. What about the 400 files that are about sex talk about the women, or about him dropping off the women or sending the women? What about all those files? So the other files should justify the existence of the other files? He only sometimes talked about, tearing off the clothes of the women. He only sometimes talked about bringing the women over. Like, only sometimes, not a big. Most of it was work. Like, what is that even supposed to mean to me? What? Or not just a suggestion. Well, on wishing you well, Monotronic Management. Thank you, Monotronic Management, for suggesting that I go through more of those files. Thank you for context, because I now have more context than I had before about your client's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And I will say this, it is even worse, okay, than I thought it was. Not only did he just make weird comments in general that are already extremely sus, but it seems like he outright knew at least about Jeffrey's interest in women under 23, right? I'll just say verbatim what I saw. It's very obvious that your client sent photos tailored towards Jeffrey's taste in his own words. He said that, whatever that means. All right. Your client asked Jeffrey for help when it comes to one of the women. Okay. You're right. I can't go into Elkholy's head, but it was a lot more than locker room talk. Maybe it's not trafficking. It's probably not kid stuff. But, at best, it's still pretty gross stuff. Okay, it's classic photographer taking advantage of clients' behavior. That's what it is. It's classic, modeling industry taking advantage of the women, and your guy played a role in that. And at minimum, he owes some apology at minimum. All right. Sorry, guys. Just wanted to, respond, because this email really pissed me off, to be honest with you. Again, I barely knew who this guy was. Never heard of this band. Never heard of him. And they're going to send me this email with a bunch of lies in it. So, again, oh no, just insane stuff. I'm going to finish this video, and then I'm going to reply to this email. Maybe I'll take a screenshot or something and post it so you guys can see what I say. But, yeah, thank you guys again for tuning in and being with me on this crazy ride. Every time I try and stop talking about the Epstein files, they seem to pull me back in. Next week, we have even more videos that are harder to find. You have to go in the extensions. We posted some of them already. We're gonna post a little darker ones. Unfortunately, it's just important to get it out there because people are still ignoring it. And then there's this going on. And if this kind of smaller person, smaller company thinks that they can just brush this shit under a rug by emailing the people posting this stuff, how dare he say that I'm doxing him? I'm not doxing anybody, not intentionally. It's not my fault the fucking DOJ didn't didn't properly redact the files. Not on me. I didn't do it. It's so crazy. This is not a threat to Elkholy. I would never do this. But Elkholy, I did find your social security number in one of the files. You need to contact the DOJ or whoever to get that fixed. I did find your social security number. If you email me back, I'll send you the particular file. Just because, that would truly be awful. If you really want someone to kick you while you're down, that would be it. But they've done such a terrible job of redacting. First of all, they've done a terrible job at redacting your own name. I don't know why they would redact your name, but they've done a bad job of that. They tried on some of them. My suspicion is that there's a lot more, Mr. Elkholy, on some of your files, just like there are on quite a few other people that I've discovered, piecing some of this together. Just a hypothesis that I have. But yes, the file's terribly redacted. Lots of victims' names are in there. Lots of names in general. Lots of phone numbers. It's kind of crazy. I've responded to the email here. This is the video. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Thanks for the support. Still getting lots of love from you guys. It's fantastic. I don't encourage you guys to go and harass these people. I just encourage you to read the emails yourselves, go through them yourselves, to draw your own conclusions. I'm going to share mine, but I don't want that in any way to push out your own. I love hearing difference of opinions. I mean, I could go over those emails 1,000 times and probably still learn something new. It seems like most of the time it just gets worse, and not better. So yes, again, thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for liking, subscribing, supporting, commenting, whatever you can to increase activity. It's all fantastic. I will see you guys Tuesday unless something crazy happens. There's a lot of stuff right now going on in Iran. The whole fucking place is on fire. It's crazy. I would love to go over it, but this video would be at least another hour long if I did. So maybe if too much happens, I'll go over the Iran stuff tomorrow, and then we'll start the episode Tuesday. But so far, the next episode should be Tuesday. And yeah, thanks for tuning in again, guys. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your night, good tomorrow, and I'll see you guys Tuesday.